Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's August 13th. It is 2024. We have a 9-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Nothing much. Doing good, man. Another day, another slate. Sorry, everyone. It was my fault. We're kicking off a little bit later than usual. My computer just, it had a massive freeze up. So I don't know what was going on there, but all is well. I am a little congested. So just bear with me and we'll get through this thing.
Pounding the over on the mutes today. Will told me pre-show that he was going to be muting himself a lot on the show today. So absolutely hammered the over on the mutes. So hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday night. Terrible MLB slate for me on Monday. So ready to get back on track here on Tuesday. We got, I was saying it in chat, but we got exactly what we were kind of hoping for from Kai Busch, and the Yankees just didn't take advantage of it. He was walking everybody. He was getting hit, and they just didn't capitalize on any big hits. Luckily, we got his under strikeouts, which is nice, but our morning grind parlay not looking great right now. So hopefully we can get back on track here on this wonderful Monday night. Tuesday morning for some. 9 games, morning grind contest link posted in chat. Winner will get a 3-day premium pass here to RotoGrinders. Let's have some fun. We got Texas at Boston. Another game that was very disappointing in the run department. So on Monday night, Cutter Crawford, Jose Urena, 9.5 total. Red Sox a 135 favorite. Any interest here in Jose Urena?
No, we're not playing Jose Urena.
Yeah, even with Duran out of the lineup here with his suspension for a couple days, not gonna play Urena. We should note that the other side, or not the other side, but the Yankees, there was just an announcement that Jazz Chisholm left the game early with a potential injury, so that kind of stinks for the Yankees. So we'll see. Jose Urena, not great. He has really been struggling, and he just faced Boston not too long ago. 7 runs scored for Boston. They put up 11 runs in that game. Not playing Urena against the Red Sox. Any interest in Cutter Crawford here on the other side of this game?
Stevie, I don't know. These young Boston pitchers seem to be wearing down a bit, and so I don't think I'm going to play Crawford here. He's 8K. If he was 7K, I'd probably consider it. It's not a hard no for me, but I just feel like the younger Boston pitchers are, kind of coming back to the center of gravity here, or getting a different center of gravity rather than I think I'm going to take the fade. And also,
yeah,
Steve, let me just say, I know Derek said he parlayed mutes and frozen camera. I may have to take myself off stage if I have to blow my nose or something because I am a little congested today. So don't worry, guys. Everything's fine. I don't even feel bad. I just got this weird congestion. So just want to put that out there, Stevie, so everybody can keep their bets alive.
Yeah, Cutter Crawford for me. On the season, 23% Ks, ISO around 210, WOBA around 313. Over the last month, strikeout rate 16.7%, 411 ISO, 416 WOBA, giving up a ton of fly balls, not missing any bats, giving up a ton of barrels, not even remotely thinking twice about playing Cutter Crawford here. He just gave up 4 home runs to Texas. You see his recent stats, it's wild how many home runs. He's given up 13 home runs over his last 4 games. So really struggling.
Charlie Morton gave up that many in 1 game. So I can't, I don't have anything to say. Wasn't quite that many, but man, he got demolished. Oof.
I know, I really like this game on Monday, but I think I'm going to go back to the well here. I think I'm going to go back to the Texas side for sure. Corey Seager, he hit a home run on Monday night, which is always good, but the rest of the team kind of didn't do much. I like Texas a lot here. Let's go Rangers.
B2TW, Stevie. Back to the well, brother. Love it. I plan on going back to the well. I think Texas is a fine stat yet again. Obviously, Corey Seager will be in play. I keep talking about this Stevie Adolis Garcia. He's 4,200. I think when this team is hitting well, it's slightly too cheap. I know they kind of bumped him to the 7 hole here, but in some of these starts, but I still think that's too cheap for the amount of power this guy has and the type of upside he can bring. If you got Smith leading off, he's 4K. I love this team, Stevie. Simeon batting third now, which to me strengthens this lineup. Texas a top stack of the day yet again.
Yep. Red Sox going right back to the well on the Red Sox here. Jose Arenas stinks. Not very good at all. Really bad against lefties. We're going to get a lot of left-handed hitters in this lineup. I like Abreu and Devers. If Hamilton bats leadoff, Yoshida should hit up towards the top of the lineup. Another team that I'm going to play quite a bit today is Boston. I think this game is going to – I think I'm going to go back to the well on over 9.5 in this game. I think we're going to see a lot of runs in this game.
Yeah, I plan on playing a ton of this game, Stevie. A ton of Boston in particular. I think this is a team that, man, you just look at, once again, they got to have a ton of lefties. We already know this, Stevie. And I think you can just play all these guys. Now, I know Durant's out. I got that suspension for a couple of games, but Yoshida, Devers, they'll probably keep playing Rafaela here. I just think, Smith will keep playing. It's just a quality lineup, Stevie. So I'm expecting them to handle business here against Urania and put up the runs that we need. They didn't score as much as we wanted on Monday. For Tuesday's slate, Stevie, I think they come back with the vengeance here.
All right. Moving on, we got Oakland at New York Mets, Citi Field. Ross Stripling, Paul Blackburn, 8 total. Mets a 166 favorite here. Any interest in Ross Stripling? Over 1 hit.
Yeah, a lot going on. No, I'm not playing Ross Stripling. It was a quick no, too.
Oh yeah, like I read the lips of no, and I was like, well, I didn't hear it. Did it lag? Nope. All right, well, this didn't work out for you. It happens. But yeah, Ross Stripling, very little upside, just doesn't strike anybody out. He's such a hittable pitcher. Zero chance I'm playing him. Any interest in Paul Blackburn on the other side?
I really don't, Stevie. Now, this could be a nice spot for Blackburn. Like, once again, upside for him, Stevie, is like 20 points. So we're not talking about 30 or something like that. The advantage of Citi Field should be in his favor. I think because of the price, I take some shots. I think that's where I land on it. I think I take a few shots, even though it's against Oakland. They're in this big ballpark. I think Blackburn could squeeze his way to 20 points if everything broke in the right way.
Well, Oakland went on that streak there for, I feel like, a couple weeks where they were just hitting everything. And since then, over the last couple weeks, they've really slowed down. I think he is definitely worth having in your player pool if you're playing 20 entry max, 150 entry max. If you're MMEing today, I think he is in the player pool. He's not a huge upside guy, but it's the conversation that we had on Friday with Martin Perez, and I think Martin Perez ended up with like 22 or 23 fantasy points on Friday. It's just Oakland. It's a beatable matchup, and they've been struggling. He's not a terrible pitcher. Gets a little bit of revenge here going up against his former team. Any interest in the Oakland Bats?
I still don't mind if we're going to one-off some of these guys, Stevie. So, as an example, like as hot as Butler was, he's still 3,900. Like this is a guy that's got some power. Blade, G-Loff. I'm sorry, I said Blade. I meant G-Loff. I'm okay with G-Loff. Like he's still really cheap. He should be closer to the top of the order. But generally speaking, Stevie, I'm not stacking this team. Maybe some one-offs or cheap pieces that would fill it, but not excited about it.
I like Langoliers. I love catchers against pitchers. They've catched for recently, and this is a guy that was traded towards the end of July. So, Langoliers against a guy that he's caught this year. Catchers see tendencies better than anybody else on the field. Obviously coaching, but I think Langoliers is an excellent one-off here. Roker has gotten to the point where he's just so expensive, but I mean, he has 29 home runs on the season. He just keeps hitting. Butler, he finally got it going against Toronto. Was it Sunday? He had a really big game on Sunday, but yeah, overall, not overly excited about Oakland. The Mets side, Vientos, he is dealing with like some ankle soreness. We'll see if he's back in the lineup. Obviously, I think you can play Lindor, Pete Alonso, Nimmo. I just hate stacking in Citi Field. It's just such a terrible ballpark to stack in it overall. I think if I was playing the Mets here, it'd be more of a mini stack.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm close to wanting to full stack the Mets, Stevie, because of how bad Stripling is. And that's kind of where I'm landing here. I think you just put together enough guys that could get there. Like, if you play Nimmo, you play Martinez. They got Winker there, McNeil. Cheap pieces at the bottom, mid-range pieces in the middle, a couple expensive pieces at the top. I think the lineup is reasonable enough. I'm with you. I don't like stacking in Citi Field, but I just don't trust Ross Stripling at all. So I think I'm going to stack the Mets at least a little bit, just in case, Stevie, they just have a nuclear night.
Kansas City at Minnesota, no total in this game. We have no idea who is pitching for Minnesota, so that's always fun. There has been reports that Zebby Matthews is going to get called up at some point this week. Does it happen today? It is kind of the question, whether or not he gets the call up or not today. I would assume if he did get the call up, he would start like a normal starter, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But they have him on 7,700 for DraftKings if he is the guy that is called up here. But I mean, he is very stretched out. So Lugo on the hill for Kansas City. Let's start with Lugo, and then we'll potentially talk Zebby Matthews. Any interest here in Lugo?
I think he's too expensive, man. I don't want to target this Minnesota team, Stevie. I think there's just enough quality bats to give Lugo some serious problems here. Similar to this Boston situation where he just had to face so many lefties. I think he's just going to be in a similar situation against Minnesota. And I don't think, once again, this is a spot where I think he's going to come out and get 30 fantasy points. I think Minnesota's got enough power here to limit him at 9,300. I don't think I'm playing him today.
Yeah, I mean, I hate playing right-handed pitching against Minnesota. I said this yesterday with Brady Singer. I can't do it. I just don't think there's enough upside here for Lugo. He's having a great year. His strikeout rate has really dipped here in the second portion of the season so far. Big time. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on Lugo. Really good lineup. Not a ton of strikeouts. Let's talk Matthews. He's a huge strikeout guy. I mean, this is a guy that is a top 5 prospect in Minnesota's organization. Him and David Festa are the two top prospects that they have as far as pitching is concerned. Big, tall guy, huge fastball, sits 95 to 97 most of the time with his fastball. Really good control and fastball cutter combination. Needs to develop secondary pitches, his curveball and slider, changeup. They're not great from everything that I've done research on him. I assume he gets called up and he pitches here. Double-A, absolutely lights out. Dominated Double-A this season in his 55 innings. Really he's been all over the place in Triple-A. The strikeouts have been good. The walks have been good, but he's been giving up more home runs. His BABIP was really high. I did notice that. And his home run to fly ball ratio was 25%. That's not sustainable over a long period of time. It's a tough matchup against Kansas City. He's not this 4K call-up. if it is Matthews, which I'm kind of assuming it is going to be him, looking at like when he pitched last and everything, do you take shots on Matthews here in his debut, or are you just going to say Kansas City's a tough matchup and we don't have to do it?
Yep, that's where I'm at. Tough matchup, don't have to do it, Stevie, because he's coming in at 7,700. If he was coming in at 4K,
if he was 6K, like 6K, okay. Here's the thing, right? The pitching slate today stinks. It's not great overall. There's options. There's a few options that we'll talk about as we're going through the games that we're okay with, but overall, I don't love the pitching slate today. So with like that said, like he does have strikeout ceiling. Kansas City is just not a huge strikeout team in general. Their lineup that they rolled out against Pablo Lopez was like 17.5% or something strikeouts. So 6K, I would be so in here. 7,700, like even on a slate where like pitching is kind of not the best in the world. I just don't know if I could do it. I do say it one more time. I do think he has solid strikeout stuff. At every level he's ever pitched at, his strikeout stuff has been great. Good fastball cutter combination at 95 to 97 is just stuff you can't, teach. So
here's what we hope for, Stevie. Semi gets his face bashed in today. I mean, like, comes out, goes 4 innings, maybe gets 5 strikeouts, but gives up like 5 runs. And then hopefully we get him on like a really good matchup the next time. He's 6,500 and we just attack him.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he gets called up and he pitches here. I don't see him getting put back down because Joe Ryan just got hurt too. So I think him and Fester are going to be kind of the young guys that are going to get to play here down the stretch for Minnesota. Let's talk bats. He is making his debut, so I don't mind. If it is him, if it's somebody else, man, I'm probably going to still have interest in Kansas City. But young pitcher making his debut, started the season in Single A. I mean, I think you could definitely stack Kansas City today.
Yeah, Steven, I feel like I don't want to say it's been a theme, but I know that's something we've talked about on several occasions when you're getting a young call up. Despite what their upside could be, you never know how they're going to react. Being in the majors, their first start. So, just generally speaking, I will be stacking the Kansas City Royals also. Just up and down the lineup, just in case. You never know.
Minnesota, any interest in Minnesota against Lugo?
Plenty. Love this lineup, Stevie. And with Correa on the IL, we just keep getting Willie Castro here. Playing shortstop or second. And we get so many lefties, Waldner, Kepler, Larnach, and they're all still cheap, Steve. You look at this lineup, I mean, these guys are 3,500, 3,700, 4K. Santana's 3,600. Jefferson's still, he's 4,100. We haven't seen a whole lot of power like we have earlier this season, but it's still there. Royce Lewis at 4,900. I probably won't be as interested in him as I will a lot of these lefties, because to me, that's where Lugo has struggled down the stretch. But if you're going to stack up Minnesota, like, you need to get Lewis in some. And so that's where I am. I won't have him in all of them. But I love this team, man. And once again, I say it probably every start or every podcast, rather. I feel like Minnesota's going to be my team at the end of the season, Stevie, that I've played the most of. I just keep playing them. So love this team.
Yeah, chat's talking about White Sox being the winning stack. Hey, TJ and I were talking about heel, like if you're playing a lot of heel, like I played a lot of heel, and my White Sox stack's still not doing much, but I did say, like, if you're going to play a lot of heel, definitely, throw that hedge stack out there. And I never would have thought White Sox scored 11 runs on Monday, but it is baseball. It's so much fun.
White Sox hedge stack. Josh says, can't believe we play this sport all year. Gotta love it.
I love baseball, man. I absolutely love it. Let's talk about them. Yankees, White Sox, 9 total. Yankees a 300 favorite. Nestor Cortez, Jonathan Cannon. Any interest here in Nestor Cortez?
I have some interest in Nestor Cortez. I'm not going to let this start deter me. Stevie, just last week, or excuse me, not last week, on the Sunday slate, we all lined up to play Dylan Cease against an inferior opponent, and it did not work out. And that happens. It's going to happen. But if we keep playing the long game, I still think Nestor's, even in some of his struggles recently, should be able to be okay against the White Sox. At 8,400, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a bad play. I will pump the brakes a little bit as far as Cortez. He has really been struggling recently. Like his strikeout rate over the last month is 15%. His ISO's 300. His WOBA's 450. And looking at like the advanced stuff, it's awful. Whiff rate's way down. The swinging strike rate is way down. I will say the BABIP is up really high in that span, so he's gotten a little unlucky. I think he's going to be very popular. A 300 favorite against the White Sox. He's going to be, at 8,400. So I don't think he's a bad play by any means, but I do want to pump the brakes a little bit. Like if he's going to be massive chalk, which I do think he's going to be pretty popular, that you could end up being okay with being underweight on him. He has allowed at least 3 earned runs in 5 straight starts. Only over 5 strikeouts one time. Like he has really been struggling down the stretch. So I just want to throw that out there as far as like if he is chalky, I don't think you have to necessarily be afraid of being underweight on Nestor Cortez today. Jonathan Cannon against the Yankees. Good start last time out against Oakland. I don't think I can do it with Cannon here.
No thanks. No thanks.
I mean, hey, just walk everybody and get the outs, and that's how you beat the Yankees, I guess. Like I mentioned when we were talking a few minutes ago, Jazz left the game early. We'll have to see if that's anything serious or not. It looked like a shoulder injury from what I saw on the replay. So we'll have to kind of see what happens with Jazz. If he's out of the lineup, could potentially open up like a cheaper spot, but I like the Yankees a lot today.
I mean, I'm in with the Yankees also, Stevie. I mean, we got to have a short memory in daily fantasy sports, and so this is another spot where I think we pull out our B2TW back to the well. I'm not saying the Yankees come out here and score 50 runs. I'm saying I think they should be very productive in this spot. And so, I'm expecting them to come out and play well. Obviously, Soto, I typically value Soto over Judge because he's just got so many ways to score fantasy points. I know we probably hate it when he has that 4-walk game, but we love it when he has the 2 walks and the home run and the double RBI. He's, they turn this lineup over. He's 5 for 6 on the day, or 2 for 3, Stevie, and 3 walks. Like it's just he's got so many ways to get there. So I like Soto here. Definitely, I'm okay with Judge. I don't think there's any reason for us to not play him against Canada. You got Wells. You still got Gleyber Torres, who, while he hasn't had the best season, still really cheap in this lineup. So I just think there's always so many ways to get the Yankees bill going with Verdugo and those guys and all these cheap pieces. So love the Yankees here against Canada.
All right. Yeah, right back to the well. It feels like Monday's slate all over again, and hopefully variance and everything's in our favor in this one because I basically like a lot of the same stuff I liked yesterday. Any interest in the White Sox here against Cortez?
I'm just Stevie. If the White Sox beat me, they beat me. I'm okay with not playing them. And it is a 9-game slate. I get it. Like if you want to play Robert because Cortez can't have any struggles with walks and with righties, I'm fine with that. But like generally speaking, I am not playing the White Sox.
So Robert Vaughn, Senzel is really cheap today. He's 2,700. He's someone that I really like in the spot. Cortez, like I said, he's been struggling quite a bit. I think Senzel is someone that is cheap. I don't mind a Chicago 3-man here with these like right-handed bats in this lineup. Jolks, if he's in the lineup too, Corey Jolks is someone that hits left-handed pitching well. If you wanted to take some shots on him against Cortez. Josh, I literally just said that Jazz left the game with a shoulder injury. That's what the report was. So I don't think you really want to factor in Jazz getting pinch hit for Rice. I think it was a shoulder injury more than a pinch hit for a pinch hit. Dodgers, Brewers, Red Sox win, but they don't get over 9.5. That kind of stinks. 8.5 total. Gavin Sheets, Colin Ray, Dodgers a 126 favorites. Any interest here in Gavin Stone? I think I said Gavin Sheets, but it's Gavin Stone.
You did, but that's okay. Steve, I'm
I
not
was reading chat. They were talking about Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, friend of the podcast. Friend of the podcast, Gavin Sheets. I'm not playing Stone. I haven't played him all season, Steve. I'm continuing to attack him with these good offenses, and he gets to go into Milwaukee today. Milwaukee didn't get it done against Kershaw, but they better get it done against Stone. I'm not playing Stone.
Yep, no Gavin Stone for me. Colin Ray, I mean, he's been hot or cold. Mookie Betts back in this lineup. That adds a serious hump to overcome. It's just not. It's not like it was anymore, or like it was like a week ago. I mean, Mookie Betts, Freeman back. Good luck facing the Dodgers right now, and it's just a matter of time before our boy Max Muncy's back in this lineup. This is a team that just is so good, good.
You said hump to overcome, Stevie. I couldn't have said that any better. It's amazing how adding one bat. Because here's the thing about Mookie, and I know we'll get to it, but why it's going to be so tough for Colin Ray. He's going to have to pitch his butt off through the first 4 bats, Stevie. He's going to have to really pitch here. And obviously, you could get some ground ball outs, but Stevie, you're asking him to do that 3 times through a lineup. It's going to be tough. That also doesn't mean that the Dodgers score 20 runs, but I do think they make it tough on Ray, even at 7,600. Ray's been pitching fine, but he got Washington, he got the high strikeout Cubs, he got Atlanta twice, both who's a high strikeout team of their own. I can't play Ray against the Dodgers.
Nope, can't do it. If I'm not going to play Freddie Peralta, I'm not playing Colin Ray. I mean, it's as simple as that for me. Colin Ray is a 19% guy. Freddie Peralta is a 29% K guy. Freddie Peralta still, I think, had 5 or 6 strikeouts. I think Hernandez was a bunch of those, but
can I just express my disdain for Brady Singer? Steve, I just quit playing Brady Singer. I quit playing Brady Singer props, but it's just so hard to get him right. He gets demolished today and gets 7 strikeouts, or Stevie, he goes 7 innings and gets 1 strikeout against a bad team. It's come on, guy. That's just a sidebar. All right. Back to Milwaukee and the Dodgers.
The chat talking about Mookie's home run. I did bet his over total bases. That was printing money before he got hurt, and right back to it, baby. Especially against Freddie Peralta, got good odds on some Mookie bets.
Can the Padres do something? Gosh.
Dodgers bats. Any interest in the Dodgers bats against Colin Ray?
Oh man, plenty of interest. You talked about Mookie being back. That's just a huge addition to this team, Stevie. Huge addition to the lineup. And I don't think we have to sell anyone on. He's 6,100. He's easy. Not I want to say easy, but he needs to go in the lineup. You got Ohtani. You talked about having free money Freddie at 5,100, Will Smith at 5K. This team is getting more expensive though, Stevie. So you got to pick and choose here who you want to play at the top of this lineup. And then, sprinkle in your Jason Hayward, sprinkle in your Pie Hayes. But even though they're expensive, they're very much in play. Love these guys.
I like the Brewers a lot here. I love picking on Stone. He's just not a guy that I think is. I don't even want to say that he's not good. He's struggling, right? Young pitcher that's struggling over the last month. 14% Ks, 300 ISO, 430 WOBA. Mitchell, Contreras, Terang, Adames. Yeah, I mean, like you said, they didn't get it done against Kershaw, but I do like this spot a lot for Milwaukee today.
Yeah, man, love these guys. I need to be going out and getting me a Cheerio jersey, Stevie. I mean, this guy, I took him on a slate as a one-off, and he just put up the numbers. 39 fantasy points. I think this team in general is just a really good play. You talked about Contreras. Adames and Contreras just kind of got hot there, for a small little stretch. But I'm still fine with Bowers. Like you mentioned, Teray. I'm fine with all of this lineup. And Mitchell at 3,200, they've been batting him in like the 2 hole, Stevie. So to have that access to this lineup, another cheap piece batting further up, definitely think he's in play today. Love the Brewers against Stone.
A lot of hitting options on the slate that I'm noticing as we're going through, and pitching again, just kind of there. Toronto at LA taking on the Angels, 9 total in this one. Toronto 148 favorite. We got Kevin Gausman against Carson Fulmer. Any interest here in Kevin Gausman?
I have some interest, Stevie. I think I end up on some Gausman today. He hasn't been as good as he's been in the past, but I think I can get him at 9K, and I think he's just good enough to have a reasonable outing against the Angels. And that's why I play him. So I'm not playing him for 30 points. I'm playing him for like 22 points. You know what I mean? Like low, no more than mid-20s. But I'm not saying he's safe. I'm saying I don't think he gets his head bashed in, and I think he can do enough to put up a reasonable score on this slate. Pitching isn't incredibly strong, so I'm perfectly fine with it.
Pitching on this slate is not great. I hate playing Kevin Gausman. He's another guy that's like his strikeout stuff has dipped. His fly balls have popped up, and his swinging strike rate has been atrociously bad over the last month and a half. I think you got to take some shots on him today. The bottom half of this lineup is really bad, especially against right-handed pitching. It's just the pitching slate's not great, so we're not going to feel very comfortable about some of these options. Like I could pick on something about every pitcher on this slate that I like. Like there's just not a home run pick. And I mean, we saw with Heel on Monday, just because somebody's in a great matchup and they've been pitching really well doesn't mean that they're going to go out and dominate. So anything can happen. I'll play some Gausman today. Carson Fulmer on the other side of this game. Just don't think I can do it, man. Like, this is a team, they're the most frustrating team in baseball when it comes to stacking them, because like it never seems like I can get them right. But he's been somewhat reverse splitsy as he's like moved over and pitched more and more here. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think I can do it.
Yep, I'm not doing it. I don't think the spot's good enough. And let me just say, Toronto does have a few more strikeouts in this lineup than they did earlier this season, but I'm still not playing Fulmer at almost 8K.
Any interest in the Toronto bats here?
Plenty. But Stevie, you know how I feel about Toronto. I load up on them and they do absolutely nothing, but that is okay. I think they're in a good spot here. Alejandro Kirk, very cheap at 3,200. He's on cheap catcher alert today, Stevie, I think. Vlad Guerrero, obviously, who's been hitting really well over the course of the season. He's 5,500. Horwitz has been in the lineup a ton, and he's 3,500. Fairly low K rate. I think he was around 17% when I looked at him today. But overall, I mean, I think this lineup is just low, has enough low strikeouts to get it done. Springer's been leading off at 4,500. Varsho's there, high strikeout, but still some nice power. So I like this lineup a ton today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them. I don't know if they're going to like end up making the cut for me overall. And it's more of like, I just think there's a lot of great offenses today. And I think that Toronto is just a good offense. So I don't know if they make the cut for me. And then as far as the Angels bats go, C4 Cammy definitely pointing out Anthony Rendon's BVP against Gausman. But at one point, Anthony Rendon was a good hitter. I don't know if we can necessarily say that anymore. He has a 57 ISO with a 275 WOBA against right-handed pitching this season. I actually hope that Anthony Rendon's in the lineup. Any interest here in the Angels bats?
I think some of these guys are going to do something, Stevie. I mean, Shanuel, he's a guy. He's probably going to lead off. Like, he might be okay. I think you can win off some of these cheap pieces, Stevie. But I don't plan to just be stacking this lineup. Maybe one-offs, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Gausman, throughout his career, we kind of know, like, he's more reverse splitsy. You want right-handed power. So, like, Neto, Ohape, potentially those guys. But I'm not going crazy on the Angels here. Rockies, Diamondbacks, 9 total. Arizona, 240 favorite. Austin Gomber, Eduardo Rodriguez. Any interest here in Austin Gomber?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I have interest from time to time in Gomber when he's on the road because I don't think he's actually a real bad, like, real-life pitcher. No chance today. Okay, hear me out really quick. Hear me out. If Marte is hurt and he does not play, Walker's out of the lineup too. That's their 2 best right-handed hitters. Gary L is banged up. That's their 3rd best right-handed hitter. So I don't want to say that I don't want to give Austin Gomber an instant no right now because this lineup might actually be really bad tomorrow. He might get like 5 or 6 lefties. And if he gets like 5 or 6 lefties, I might actually play some Gomber. So I was quick to like say no, but I processed it in my head really quick. And if Marte's out, Walker's on the IL, Marino's on the IL, and Gary L has been out of the lineup the last couple games with the hamstring, like, this lineup might be really bad today, Will.
Yeah, I was trying to see if they may call up or Blaze may play. Like I know they I'm just thinking that they might try to get it back. I don't know, but either way, I understand that. You're right; it could be ugly. So maybe we hold off on that. As of right now, I'm still on a no. But like I totally get the angle, and I would like to see the lineup. I'm gonna side with your viewpoint there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a discomfort injury for Marte. I was reading about it before we got on the podcast. But yeah, you never know. I think Marte would have to go on the IL, or Gary L would have to go on the IL before Blaze got called back up. But we'll see what this lineup looks like. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you have to adjust to lineups, and like, yeah, this lineup might be bad. It might be really bad. Any interest in Eduardo Rodriguez going up against the Rockies?
I want to play Erod. I would love to play Erod. I don't like this pitch count for Erod. He's just getting back. Like, maybe he makes it to 80 pitches here, Stevie. It might be 85, and that could be good enough, but he's 8,700. Cleveland was a tough matchup to start out with anyway, so I fully understand that. I'm just not sure where he's actually at in, like, his pitching regimen. And so maybe you take a shot on him in like deep field or large field stuff, Steve. Like, maybe you get some minor exposure just in case he has a super efficient 80 pitch, 6 strikeout game in 5 or 6 innings. I think that's what you do here. I don't think you get to him in single entry or 3 entry max. I think you just have to let him sit on the shelf. But I think taking some stabs in large field is probably the way to go, because he should get the 80 pitches here, and he is a guy that historically has had some strikeout upside.
Yeah, here is my concern with Erod. Obviously, he's been out since spring training. He got hurt in spring training, and my biggest concern is, like, he didn't do a rehab stint. He did, like, some simulated games and some bullpens and stuff, and he did not miss any bats against Cleveland the other day. And like Cleveland's a low strikeout team. We'll give him that. But he had a 3% swinging strike rate and a 6.5% whiff rate. That's awful. And he had a 111 BABIP. So he ran really good in that game against Cleveland. Like he probably should have got a lot more runs against in that game. So 8,700 for Erod. Like we're so quick to just play pitchers against the Rockies. And I'm with everybody when it comes to that. But I don't know if I could do it today. I just don't think I can do it after watching some of that and like digging into the stats on his first start. Like this is why I think the pitching slate today is really interesting because I think depending on the Arizona lineup, I might actually have more interest in Gomber, than I do in Rodriguez because of the price and the lineup. But yeah, I mean, I hate the fact that he didn't do any rehab starts. When you miss 5 months of the season and like you don't do a rehab assignment and you just do like simulated games, like I don't know. I pitched for a long time and throwing bullpens in simulated games is nothing like the adrenaline and facing live bats in a game setting. Rockies bats. I mean, obviously I like a little bit here. I like Tovar. I like Doyle. I like Rogers. Taglia has been fantastic against lefties. Like, I don't know if I am afraid to play Rockies bats against Erod after digging into his stats from his first start.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I'm always okay with like, some one-offs here because the Rockies overall, Stevie, they aren't crazy expensive. So like you talked about Taglia, he's 4,100. Rogers is 37. Tovar's 45. Like no one's really breaking the bank. I mean, you got Doyle at 51, but okay, whatever. But because they're cheap, I don't mind one-offs or mini stacks, Stevie. I still don't want to go full stack on the Rockies, but I'm fine with the mini stacks for sure.
I think with potential ownership of pitching on this slate, like if we start to get some chalky pitchers, and you want to make a team different, play Rockies with that pitchers or those stacks. I think that's what you're going to use the Rockies for today. Any interest in Arizona against Gomber?
I have some interest, Stevie. I want to see how this all shakes out with the lineups. But they should be fairly. If Marte sits, they should be a fairly cheap lineup to get to, Stevie. That doesn't mean they're going to be good, but I'm just not afraid of Gomber in a general sense. So I'm perfectly fine with playing some of these cheap bats. I may not go full stack against Gomber. This may also be another mini stack opportunity, Stevie, if the lineup's rough. But I still don't mind taking some shots.
I hate to say this, but I want to see what the lineup looks like. You want to attack Gomber with right-handed power. And I don't know if they're going to have any right-handed power in this lineup tomorrow. And that's kind of why we were talking about, or I was talking about playing Gomber. Like, you want to attack him with right-handed power. If Marte is out and everybody else is on the IL and Gurriel doesn't play, like, there is no right-handed power in this lineup. So, yeah, I mean, maybe Josh Bell, but I'm not going to one-off Josh Bell. I'll be honest. I'm not going to one-off Josh Bell.
Bell's been playing pretty good since he got to Arizona, though. I'm not trying to convince you to one-off. I'm just saying he has been.
Yeah. It's shocking what happens when you go from playing for Miami, sorry, I was like blanking there, to going to a hitter-friendly ballpark in Arizona. Shocking. Yeah. Good for Josh Bell. Just don't think I can one-off it. He is 3,700. All right. I'm not going to talk myself into it. Pittsburgh at San Diego, 8 total in this game. San Diego, 200 favorite. We got Luis Ortiz and Michael King facing off against each other. Any interest here in Luis Ortiz?
No, I'm not playing Luis Ortiz. I mean, he did have a okay game. I think his last, he was on his way to an okay game, Stevie, but he couldn't get the strikeouts. And when the runs came, it didn't matter. So, and we're back in the same spot again. I'm not playing Luis Ortiz. Negative.
Yep, just faced this team 5 days ago. Absolutely hate it. No chance I can do this. Struggled in that start. Just can't do it. Low strikeout team, low strikeout, below average strikeout pitcher. Nope. Just no. I don't see any upside here with Ortiz. King on the other side of this game, he just faced this team too. Pitching stinks today. I'm going to throw out my rule with Michael King and I'm going to take some shots on him because I have to. He has a 28% strikeout rate, and we just don't have a lot of those today. So throwing out my rule, hopefully he can get us there. You have to. I think you have to take some shots. Like, if I'm not excited about playing Cortez, I don't want to go all in on Gausman. Like, I think I have to play some Michael King today.
Yeah, I have to also, Stevie. I too will be breaking that rule with him at 9,500. He didn't have a stellar performance in that game in terms of efficiency and run prevention, but the strikeouts were still there. He had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. If he could just, have nice control, not keep guys off the base paths here in this game, even if he doesn't get 7, Stevie, he could go 6 for 6 innings, 6 Ks, and get the win here. I mean, that's a great output for this slate in terms of pitching. At 9,500, I'm with you. I am in.
Have to. I don't know if I necessarily want to.
Yeah, we have to play him, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Stevie, because we've looked at some other pitchers. I feel like Michael King is the chalk here. Like, realistically, like, he's, in my opinion, kind of one of the higher strikeout pitchers in one of the softer matchups. Like, I know people are going to perceive the White Sox as a soft matchup with Cortez, but Cortez still isn't on the strikeout level of King right now. So I know King is 9,500. I think King may be the lead horse here.
Cortez has a 22% strikeout rate on the season. King is at 29%. Cortez over the last month is at 15.5%, and King's at 31.4%.
Yeah.
So, I haven't looked at all these guys side to side, but I would assume that Michael King has the highest strikeout upside on this slate. So, yeah, again, I think you gotta take some shots. I hate it. I hate it, but I'm going to do it.
No spoilers.
Oh, well, I guess we'll talk about that. But let's talk about bats in this one. Any interest here in Pittsburgh?
No. And once again, small slate, anything can happen, but I don't think Pittsburgh is the way to go here.
Yeah, if you're playing the narrative of he just faced this team, it's Cruz, it's Reynolds, and it's somebody else to pair with them. I don't love anybody else really, like Bart maybe. Padres, I definitely don't have any issues playing the Padres here. Again, high contact team, low strikeout pitcher. He struggles a little bit more with lefties, so I think Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill would be my 2 favorite bats here from San Diego today. But I wouldn't necessarily talk you off of playing any San Diego bat against Ortiz.
Yeah, and Stevie, I've been getting bit by the Cronenworth bug. I've invested in him maybe a little bit too much recently, and he just hasn't really got there for me, but it's still another good spot, and so I have to play him. Same thing for Profar. Now, Profar is a little bit more expensive, but I'm still okay with it because of the situation. Jackson Merrill, 4,400, finally priced up enough or a little bit more, Stevie, but I'm okay with. He's been betting somewhere between 5 and 6. Peralta at 2,600 will probably be somewhere in the 7 hole, but he's just so cheap, Stevie. In this spot, I'm okay with him also. So love this spot here. Manny should be back in the lineup. He'll be 5,100. Other guys that are cheap, Stevie, Xander Bogaerts, Ha-Seong Kim still cheap. So this team as a whole is fairly cheap. I'm assuming Campusano catches here at 2,800, probably at the bottom of the order, but a fairly low K rate guy. So, he's someone I'm okay with also. And let's just hope they don't wet the bed.
All right, we finish out this slate. Atlanta at San Francisco, 8 total in this game. Charlie Morton, Kyle Harrison battling it out here. Let's talk Charlie Morton first. Pitching slate stinks. He got rocked in his last start, so obviously the narrative is to play him in this start. Any interest here in Morton?
Well, the other thing is he's facing the San Francisco Giants in a pretty good ballpark, Stevie. Listen, I don't want to play Morton. I think you know my feelings about Morton in relationship to the youth of our pitching staff. But, in this late, Stevie, I mean, he's a guy who can get you 18 to 20 points. You may need to consider it. I'm considering it. Let me just say, I'm buying into the Derek narrative, Stevie. This is a good start for Morton. Rough start was the last start. Good one coming right up. But it's all because of the ballpark and the situation. So at 8,500, I am going to play some shares.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pitching slate. It's the lineup. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a little exposure to Charlie Morton. He continues to generate a ton of ground balls. Ballpark might help keep one of those home runs in play, and that obviously helps him overall. This game is just an absolute pitching gem on Monday night. Hope everyone that's listening to us watching that game on mute while they listen to us. But I think Snell's at 10Ks, Sales at 7Ks, and that game is just a pitching duel that you wish you were there watching in person with two of the better lefties in baseball. Harrison on the other side here. Any interest in Kyle Harrison?
I do think there's some strikeouts here today, Stevie. And at 7,400, I think we could do worse. I actually really like Harrison today on this slate, but it's more so because of the price, the ballpark. I don't think he gets out clean, but I mean, if I'm going to play, what's our guy from the Mets? If I'm going to play Blackburn, I think I might as well play Harrison, and not in an exact situation, but in terms of ballpark and strikeouts, I think he's similar here. So I will have a few shares.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Snell. His strikeouts have been a little bit better recently, but he's had some good strikeout matchups. This is a good strikeout matchup. You look at the lineup, there's a lot of guys over 20% in this lineup. And one of the reasons that Snell is just absolutely dominating because they do strike out a ton. Also, a lot of power in this lineup. So if you're playing a little bit of Harrison, I think you could definitely play a little Braves. Let's talk about those Braves bats. Soler, Ozuna, Riley, Duvall, all these right-handed guys that strike out a lot also have a ton of power. So if Harrison is struggling with a little bit of command in this spot, it's a bad spot to be struggling in command, even in this ballpark. I don't mind the power righties here.
Yeah, similar situation, Stevie. I'm perfectly fine rolling out Braves just as much as I'm fine rolling out Harrison. Ozuna's at 6K, Soler's at 5K. Those bats are expensive. You talk about Duvall at 3,300. That's a sneaky upside bat for today, Stevie. I actually like Orlando Arcia here also. If a couple guys get on base ahead of him, he's a guy that can definitely poke a few through. So I'm fine with the Braves. I don't plan to stack the Braves today for what it's worth, but like you talk about the power righties, I'm perfectly okay with
that. Yeah, it's power righties. I don't have any interest in Giants. Just not a team that I want to mess with today. Any interest in San Francisco?
No.
I thought we had a muted no there for a second, but
no.
He was trying to process his thoughts there for a second. So, all right, let's play the morning grind game, and then
I'm actually pretty pumped about this game today, Stevie, despite the bad pitching.
I do. I like my 3-pick parlay. It's all right. I've already bet it, so I like my 3-pick parlay I have today. Get us back on track. All right, Morning grind game under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
Well, Stevie, I think this one is actually not that hard. I don't think he's going to get them, but I think he'll be close. I'm actually going with Mr. Harrison at 7,400.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Paul Blackburn, I think, is the guy that I would pick here if I was going to pick a strikeout guy. I will say, like, as we've gone through the slate, I have a little bit more interest in Zebby Matthews if he does get called up and pitch here today, just because he does have, like, strikeout ability. So, yeah, dude has incredible command. But yeah, the more we go through this slate and like we've talked about this slate, the more I actually do think I have a little bit more interest in Zebby Matthews today. Going back to, I think, like the second or third game we talked about. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
I am going with Seth Lugo.
Yep. I'm going to go with Eduardo Rodriguez.
Don't hate it.
Again, really didn't rehab. I mean, simulated games, sure. Missed a lot of time. Just didn't look great in his first start this season. So I think Eduardo Rodriguez, really solid pitcher. I don't want to talk bad about him. I think he's a really solid pitcher. But when you average 89 on your fastball and you get hit as hard as you did, you could struggle, especially pitching in this ballpark. So give me Eduardo Rodriguez. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
Going close to the top today, Stevie. Give me Rafael Devers at 5,900 against Jose Urena.
Going to stay in that same game and go to Corey Seager to hit a home run against my boy Cutter Crawford. Really struggling with fly balls and home runs recently. Good spot here for Corey Seager on the road in Fenway. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bat that you like today?
All right, Stevie. So I'm going back to the Minnesota game. And this is a guy I've just continued to play. Give me Max Kepler, 3,700 against Lugo.
I'm going to go Brandon Rogers for Colorado. Absolutely crushing the baseball here recently. Had a really good home stint there against the Mets and the Braves. And, I mean, really has been hitting the ball well for the last couple weeks. So gets a phenomenal matchup against Eduardo Rodriguez, who we just got done talking about. Give me Brandon Rogers to get 2 hits today. I really like him. I'm really going to play too much Rockies today. I can tell you already right now, Will, that I'm going to play too many Rockies today. I'm going to hate myself for it at the end of the night, but I'll be doing the podcast tomorrow night. I think it's with Tim. I don't remember, but I'll be talking about how much I hate playing the Rockies. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got scoring some runs today?
I think there are a lot of teams, Stevie. I can't ignore the Boston Red Sox against Urena. I just can't.
Yep. I like that one as well. And a lot of good spots today. Give me Milwaukee Brewers against Gavin Stone. I like the Brew Crew today. You were talking about how Minnesota's your team. That is the Brewers for me this year, man. I've stacked them so much this year. Yeah, absolutely love the Brewers. All right, let's get into the betting portion of the show. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like today?
I was trying to find some, Stevie, but I'm not really seeing, in terms of the pitchers that I actually want to attack, I'm not seeing their K lines up right now. So that's slightly disappointing for me. I do like the Blue Jays at -140. So I'm going. I think that's something we can attack for sure. And then hear me out here, Stevie. Hear what I'm saying, not what I'm not saying. I actually think Texas at +125 is actually a good one because it's less about Urena and more about the fact that I think this game's going to be high scoring in general. And I think he can swing either way. And so I feel like because Cutter Crawford is on the mound, he's getting a little bit too much respect for the regression that he's shown. I like the odds that we're getting and what I feel like is a way more of an even matchup than what the books think. So that's more of a playing an angle than anything else. But I think at plus 125, I think that's actually pretty good considering this game.
So some of the books are showing Matthews. I think I nailed that, by the way. I think it's going to be Matthews for Minnesota. I must have been doing this for a while, Will. Just saying. Player props for me. I like Cutter Crawford under 4.5 strikeouts. I think he's going to struggle in this matchup against Texas. That's up on FanDuel at plus money right now. So I like that one. And I can tell you right now, depending on the odds, I'm going to be very invested in like Corey Seager props, like over total bases. I might even bet his home run prop today. So really like that. I'll be looking for some Rockies hitter props. Like if I can get some good odds on some Rockies hitting props tomorrow, that is something that I'll be looking at as well. Any other bets that you like here? I know you mentioned Texas at plus money. Is there any other bets that you like?
Blue Jays minus 140.
So I have a 3-pick parlay today, but I also have a money line bet at plus 190 that I like today. I'm going to bet this now and just suffer through it if like Arizona has a normal lineup. I'm taking the Rockies money line tomorrow. I took it already at plus 190 on Hard Rock. I think this Arizona lineup could be really, really bad tomorrow. I don't think Eduardo Rodriguez is ready yet. So I am taking the Rockies at plus 190 money line here. Probably going to end miserably, but I like the odds. My 3-pick parlay for the morning grind today, Red Sox Rangers over 9.5 runs. I know this was part of the parlay yesterday and we missed it. We're back on it. Over 8.5 runs in the Dodgers Brewers game. We talked about how much better the Dodgers lineup is with Mookie Betts. We talked about Gavin Stone and the Brewers. And I'm just going to take the Braves money line at minus 115 on the Hard Rock. Charlie Morton's a better pitcher than Kyle Harrison. Atlanta is a better lineup than San Francisco. I'm just going to play the better team here. And I got this 3-pick parlay at plus 528. So that's the morning grind 3-pick parlay for Tuesday. I will post the link to the morning grind game in chat right now. And Gerg said the money line for the Rockies is plus 205 on DK. If Marte is hurt and he is not in this lineup and Gurriel is not in this lineup, you're probably not going to get the Rockies better than like plus 150. So I think if you're going to take a shot on the Rockies, you're doing it tonight or tomorrow morning if it's still good odds. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Will? Like, are you okay with like taking a more risky gamble on like with players potentially being out of a lineup?
Yes, Stevie, that's the only way you're going to get these good odds. Like, you have to do it because, as you mentioned, by tomorrow, I always think in terms of like $100, so it just keeps it more simple for me. Basically, you're losing $60 or $55. Like if you wait until tomorrow and it's plus 150, like that's for the same angle you're wanting to take tonight. That's how I think about it. So if you want to get that, you got to get it now. Same thing, Stevie, for like strikeout props. As we close it out, I know. Like if you think a team's going to have a bad lineup, like if Gomber comes out at 3.5 tonight, I don't think he's going to be that low. But even at 4.5, he might be plus money tonight at 4.5. And like if you think the lineup's going to be bad, you take it tonight at plus 120, because if the lineup comes out and it's bad, it might be minus 120 by the time you come back around to it. So I'm always about getting if you like the angle, get it early.
This is a fun tournament slate. There are a lot of different tournament builds that, like, you don't feel good about any pitching on this slate. I don't feel good about any pitching on this slate. Like, I mean, I'm going to play some of these guys, but I mean, I think there's 10 offenses you can play today. So when we have these types of slates, these are the fun slates for me. And there's like offenses against pitchers that have a name that like you don't typically pick on, that have really been struggling with their advanced metrics, so you're just excited to play. So appreciate everyone hanging out with us live over there on the YouTube. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Do us a little favor. hit the like. We do this show for free 5 days a week, and all I ask is to hit subscribe. That helps us out. Hope everyone has a great Tuesday. We're back Wednesday talking baseball. Hope you feel better, my friend. We'll see you again on Tuesday.